Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you another video. Today, of course, I'm going to be bringing you my review for the brand new Simpsons Tapped Out update, which is, of course, entitled Springfield Enlightened. So, this is a brand new multi-event, so it's a mini-event repeated 4 times. We know the gist by now, I hope. And the theme of this one is kind of interesting, actually. It's obviously Buddhism, with a tiny bit of Hinduism sprinkled throughout. Now, combining the two, I have heard an argument that is problematic. I think, yeah, it's a tiny bit. There are parts of there is types of like Hinduism that implement the Buddha as like a figure, but yeah, combining the two is a little iffy. But I think for the most part it's fine. I think I don't really know if you're a Hindu or a Buddhist and you're particularly I don't know if you find anything problematic about it, I'd love to hear why. So yeah, this event is very interesting. There's very awesome stuff in here, but the structure of this thing is off. The characters are, I don't know why I said it was awesome. The characters are a lot of doppelgangers, mostly doppelgangers, and some of the decorations are a little underwhelming as well, so I have my issues with this event. Now, I think it's probably better than Love and War. I think I like the feel of this one a lot more than Love and War, but it is still not great. It's still a real sleeper, as Springfield calls it, or a stinker, as I like to call it. I think there is a lot of bad elements in this one. So we're going to go through all the different elements, starting with the prize track first, then we'll do the characters, then we'll do a building decoration showcase of everything that you can get so far, and then finally I'll just sort of wrap up my overall opinions. So let's get into it while talking about the prize track. Yeah, so let's quickly go over the prize track and sort of talk about the structure of the update as a whole. So, in the first act, it actually starts off with Skid Martha as the first prize, and I actually think this is kind of cool. They don't often do this anymore. Occasionally, with older updates, they would start the update by giving you a free character who would like lead the event, and Skid Martha basically leads the event in this one. And I think it was quite a wise move to add her as the first character. And I'm willing to excuse the fact that we get a building as the final prize. I'm actually willing to excuse that fact because, to be honest with you, I think the fact that Skid Martha sort of leads the event, I think that was, yeah, I think it kind of justifies it. However, I don't really justify it in Act 2 and 3 and 4. I think really then we should be getting characters as the final prize. But I think at least in this act, I think I'm fairly cool with it. Obviously, there's 5 prizes in every act. It's just like a mini update. It's what it normally is. You got Golden Buddha as the second prize. You got the Food Temple Dog as the third prize. You got an animated job for Homer as the fourth one. Now, they did this in the Love and War update. I'm not a huge fan of animation jobs on their own being prizes. In the past, I've sort of said, like, I give it a pass normally if it happens once and it's for a character or costume that we've already got in the game, not something that was added in the update. Now, this is a animation for Homer, not like the Buddhist version of Homer, or what the character we're going to be getting later on. This one is just for Homer. So I do give it an excuse. However, we are getting another animation in Act 4, so I'm like a little but they're both like meditation animations, so maybe there's like a reason for it. We'll have to see the quest line to see if I really sort of take issue with that, but I think for the most part I'm cool with an animated job. I'm fine with it. I would prefer, obviously, a really cool decoration or a building, but hey, at least it's not a token. And then, speaking of tokens, the final prize is actually, obviously you get this building here, which is called Kathmandu which actually comes with a token. I really like the fact they're doing this finally, because they sort of sometimes they add a token as a prize, sometimes they add a token as so sometimes they add it as a separate prize, and then sometimes they give us a full prize track but then gave us no tokens. I think the best option to do is give us a free token and also give us a prize. And so, yeah, I really like the fact they did this. They're doing it throughout every single act as the final prize. You're getting both a token and a building, which basically means that you're able to get a character on top. So yeah, I'm really happy with the prize track here, pretty much, in terms of like the tokens anyway. But I'm not a huge fan of the structure leading on. Like I said before, I think the structure is really off in Act 2, 3 and 4. I'm willing to give it a pass in Act 1, but in Act 2, 3 and 4, I really think they should be switching things around. Especially Act 2, which basically doesn't give us a playable character. We get the little meditating bear NPC, but we get 0 playable character in Act 2. So that is particularly crappy. So, yeah. But let's move on to the characters. So we have some characters here. Now, there's a good selection, a fair amount of characters to be added, but obviously, as you can see, a lot of them are doppelgangers. Now, we have Skid Martha. I think Skid Martha is, to be fair, honestly not too bad. I think it's a cool enough character to sort of lead the event. I would have preferred it if they were all costumes, though. I'm not going to lie. I think all of them that are the doppelgangers for all the different characters, they really should have just been costumes for all characters instead. It's just so inconsistent, because when we get like Treehouse of Horror characters, sometimes they're added as costumes and sometimes they're added as separate characters, and I just think it would be better off if they're just consistent. And obviously they started off by adding things like Witch Marge and Mayan Homer and things like this. You know, even the Mayan section, like, it's kind of a good comparison, because the Mayan segment of the show was basically some sort of similar enough to this, where it's like the Simpsons portraying like a sort of ancient history of a sort of foreign country, right? It's a similar thing, and so they were all added as costumes, but these were added as separate characters. It's just, like I said, just really inconsistent. Skid Martha, I think, is fine. You have, obviously, Marquez Millhouse, whatever. Queen Gautama. Queen Gautama. Gautama? Is it Gautama? Oh yeah, Gautama, sorry. Queen Gautama. Advisor Frink, King Gautama, Prince Gautama, and yeah, those are the doppelgangers. I think they're about all on par. I would probably put Skid Martha above the others, just because she sort of leads the event, or at least leads Act 1. I'd probably put her a little bit above the others, but obviously I haven't played the others as well, so we don't know what most of them are going to be like, obviously, apart from Advisor Frink. But we'll have to see. And then we do have 3 brand new characters who aren't doppelgangers. And the first one is the Dalai Lama. This one I think is kind of crazy that we're getting the Dalai Lama. Now, I don't think this counts, though, as a real-life person. I heard people say, like, oh, wow, we're getting a real-life person. But I don't know if this counts, because we've got the Pope before. A few years ago, we got the Pope, right? But he was just called the Pope. He wasn't called Pope Francis, right? Or whatever. Pope Francis. He was just called the Pope, and he looked nothing like Pope Francis. Now, this Dalai Lama, the only sort of thing, like, he doesn't have, like, the sort of faded hair of the Dalai Lama depiction in the show, and he doesn't have the glasses of the Dalai Lama. So I think they have strayed a little bit away from his appearance. They made him a tiny bit look a tiny bit different. And I think the reason as to why is so they can get away and just say, oh, wait, no, this isn't the current Dalai Lama, this is just our version of a Dalai Lama. Because the Dalai Lama is a title, it's not like one person. Like, when the Dalai Lama dies, the current Dalai Lama dies, there will be a new Dalai Lama. So, yeah, I think that's probably why the appearance looks a bit different. But I still think it's really cool to be getting the Dalai Lama in the game. And then finally we got next up we got the Master, which is the Quickie Mart CEO. Really awesome to be getting him. I know a lot of people wanted him. They were very disappointed when he wasn't added with the Quickie Mart HQ. So it's very awesome to be finally getting him. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get him. And then finally, this might even be my favourite, the Meditating Bear. I love this little guy. I haven't obviously seen what he's going to look like so far, but he just looks awesome as hell. So I'm really excited to be getting that Meditating Bear for sure. So in terms of characters, I think there is some real bad ones in there, but there's some good stuff to come, at least. So we'll just do a quick building and decoration showcase, or at least for the things in Act 1. There's a separate picture to show you the premium item, but this is, of course, the main stuff from the prize track. So as you can see there on the left, you have the Fu Temple dog thingy. Probably not. I don't think it was really justified to be a separate prize. I really think things like this should be added as just things in the store and give us another item. I don't know. I'm a little iffy with adding these things to the prize track. They've made like a habit of it now because like back in the day, this would have been something that you crafted, right? So I don't know. Maybe probably added it. I would prefer if they added it to the store, like I said. Then you obviously have the Golden Buddha. Very cool. I like the look of this one, actually. I think this one's probably justified to be its own separate prize. And then you have Homer, the Homer meditate animated job. Basically what happens is Homer meditates and then he falls over on his side and then gets back up and begins meditating again. And then we have that building. Oh, Jesus. God. I hate things. I hate pronouncing. I can't pronounce the fucking shit. Kathmandu. There you go. Yeah, I think I said that right. Probably not. But yeah, that building. I kind of like this one. It looks kind of cool. I think sometimes these sort of 4-in-1 or 5-in-1 or 6-in-1 buildings are kind of awesome. I get a little iffy when they're kind of corner buildings. This one's like sort of like a corner building. Like you have to really like, if you want to put a road around it, you'd have to go around you'd have to like place it into a corner, if you know what I mean. So it makes it a little less free to animate, but I still think it looks cool enough. And then if you look at this picture, here you can see the tower signs there on the right. This one, it looks a little similar to like other towers and stuff we've got in the past. It's fine though, I guess. You'll see my premium gameplay of that probably in a few hours or whatever, whenever I upload it. But yeah, that's the building and decoration showcase right there. Overall, my opinions on this update are kind of weak. The main reason why I think it's a little bit weak is because of the fact that the structure is very off in the later acts, and we're getting a lot of doppelgangers. But really, those are the only two reasons as to why I think this one's a little weak. Everything else I think is quite solid in this update. You know, we got a solid selection of buildings. A lot of them look really, really cool. There are some awesome characters we're going to be getting. I do think Skidmarth is a fine character. I think like the Dalai Lama is going to be interesting to get, and the Master, and also that meditating bear. The buildings, looking at them in the future, they look mostly fine. None of them look particularly awful. I mean, we are getting the Taj Mahal as well, which is very cool. You guys know how I love to get my in real life buildings, so I'm excited to get that one. And then decorations. The decorations are a little iffy in my opinion. I think some of the things like the wet sari contest and the crazy princess viewing area, some of them are a bit like and even like her ponies, Skidmartha's ponies, are like I'm not like tremendously thrilled at that as a decoration either. So I think there are weak elements of this update, but there is certainly some good stuff. If I had to like say whether or not this one was good or bad, like if I had to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I would lean towards a thumbs down probably. It's really tricky. It reminds me so much of Love and War because I had like a similar sort of conundrum with that update. Because the issue was, right, that one structure-wise was awful, and we got like loads of doppelgangers in that one as well, and that made it really, really weak. But at the same time, there was lots of good shit in that update, and this one's like pretty much the same. I think if I had to say which one I prefer, I'd say I prefer this update to the Love and War. I think the feel of this one just feels a lot more upbeat, and I think I'm gonna get more enjoyment out of this one. But they both are like very similar in the fact that I found it tricky to really say, like, is this one good or is this one bad? Because they're so mediocre. But anyway, tell me your thoughts. Do you think this one is a good or a bad update? I do think it's probably more bad than good, but like I said, there are some very cool stuff that we're getting in this one. But give me your overall thoughts on it. Tell me what you think. Are you disappointed we did not get a Pride update? I sure am. I would have much preferred a Pride update. going to call it Grizzly Sean and Carl and John, but instead we're giving a Buddhist update. But hey, maybe this means that next year we'll get a Pride update. We can hope for then. But anyway, tell me your thoughts, like I said, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.